Think Joe Biden could ever do that? President Trump showing up on the White House roof, doing a home inspection on the renovation projects he's got in the pipeline. 47 is a living metaphor for how he towers over the Democrats, who are currently screaming how the roof's on fire. Hiding out in blue states during a gerrymander battle royale in Texas that could give the GOP 5 new seats, which 47 says he's earned.
California's gerrymandered. We should have many more seats in Congress in California. It's all gerrymandered. And we have an opportunity in Texas to pick up 5 seats. We have a really good governor, and we have good people in Texas. And I won Texas. I got the highest vote in the history of Texas, as you probably know. And we are entitled to 5 more seats.
Texas officials still on the hunt for the 51 derelict Dems, with Senator John Cornyn calling on the FBI to round them up. These runaway Democrats think they're Bonnie and Clyde, but the only problem? Their Tommy guns are loaded with wimpy words.
This is a new Democratic Party. We're bringing a knife to a knife fight.
We need to get to fair rules across the nation and not have Democrats showing up with a butter knife to a gunfight.
We have shown up to a gunfight with nothing but good intentions and dull knives.
Our sleeves are rolled up, and we're ready to take this fight. We are ready to fight fire with fire.
But we're not running away. We're running into the fight.
We're asking for help. Maybe just as they did back in the days of the Alamo.
Tyrus, have you ever been in a knife fight?
Well, I believe the nomenclature he was trying to say was you bring a gun to a knife fight. You don't bring a knife to a knife fight. So you shouldn't say knife fight either. None of these, is anyone fearing this? Is there anyone going, oh, you hear what they're saying over there? They're out of control. Was there a huge mob outside cheering for this? Do your job. You're elected. The people made their choice. The people voted the numbers they did. You were only losing, you had 79%, you're only going down to 74%. It's not even a big change. This is just what happens when you have no plan. You can't say this is the brand new party when it's the same deflated individuals that it's always been. It's embarrassing. And even covering it, it's like this is why kids who act weird get wedgies. This is why bullies sometimes get justified, because this behavior, we're gonna fight, but none of them look like in fighting shape. It's as embarrassing as Swalwell when he was talking about bench pressing people. I'm your Huckleberry, I'll play with you. But he doesn't want to do that. They always disappear. They just say things. But who is cheering for this? Who is going, man, I am so excited. Thank you guys for leaving your job. Any other job, you'd be fired. If I was like, I don't want to come in today because Dana's picking on my legs today, so I'm not going to come in. They'd replace somebody, and then they wouldn't ask me to come on the show again. When are we going to start seeing politicians who refuse to do their jobs have actual consequences?
How is this fight going for the Democrats, Dana? Are they winning the message war? Are they winning anything?
They are not, and we also know how this is going to end. It's going to end the same way it did in 2021 when they fled to Washington, D.C., and this is the same thing. Like, do they really think that they're going to stay in Pritzker's hotels and eating continental breakfast for the rest of their lives? I mean, they left. I don't think that people have a lot of sympathy for people who don't stand up and go and do their job. I can understand that they feel like this is wrong. I understand that there are other people. Ari Fleischer had some good points today. He was like, why don't we just follow the rules and everybody do it at the same time? That said, in Massachusetts, Dems are 9 for 9 on congressional seats. Kamala didn't win 100% of the vote. In California, they're pushing a plan that would leave Republicans with just 4 of 52 seats if Texas does this, but they're probably going to do it anyway. And this is from the same crowd who says they want to pack the court and they want to blow up the filibuster in the Senate. And then they say that Texas redistricting would end democracy. So I don't have a lot of sympathy for them. But I also would say from a calm standpoint, it's clear that the bat signal from the focus groups is the Democrats want them to fight.
Yeah.
If you look at that montage, everyone has to say the word fight. They had knife fight. They had the fight. They had fight, fight, fight. But what they're doing, once again, with the tactic is they're raising the bar that they can't clear because they're going to have to come back. They don't have the numbers. So they are fighting with basically a losing hand, but they're doubling down on it. So I think that doesn't look too good for them. And I also don't know if this was entirely necessary. I do think President Trump is actually in very good position to keep a hold of the House and the Senate in 2026.
Dana, Did you just
I
say
did not
red
say it.
wave?
I said he is likely to keep it.
Okay.
And I know that the margins are small, but I don't think that this was totally necessary.
Wow. Dana kind of said red wave. That's what I heard. Harold, it's good to have you back around the table.
Glad to be back.
How do you think the Dems are doing when they are fighting but also running?
So let me start with this. Again, thank you for saying it's good to have me back, because I'm glad to be back. What the president and what the president's encouraging the Texas legislature to do is wrong. They should not do it. Just because you have the power to do something doesn't mean, or you have the ability to do something doesn't mean you should do it. Tyrus, when he walks in the studio, could beat me with the wave of a hand. I'm glad he doesn't do that, and he could do the same
I love
with
you like
you.
a brother.
I know you do,
that,
but
yeah.
the fact you wouldn't do that to the smallest guy.
I would duck.
So here you are. Every 10 years, states have the right. Every state does this. They wait for the census data to come in because we have a fixed number of members of Congress, 435. It used to be each district was roughly 450 to 550,000 people. It's grown now to almost 1 million, depending on some districts, because of the population movement around our country. So for Texas to do this, I think is just wrong. And the reaction that the Texas Democrats have is a reaction to something that is simply wrong. Now, the California governor, the Illinois governor, and the New York governor, who are all Democrats, are saying we're going to counter this. I kind of don't blame them. I don't like the tit for tat, but if they unilaterally disarm, because President Trump asserts authority and control, and no one questions him. If we started this conversation saying this is probably the wrong thing to do, now this is not the right thing to do what Democrats are doing, but we've accepted that what Texas is doing at the urging of President Trump, I think is just the wrong thing. Now, two, I don't think Dana was saying red wave come 2026. What Dana is saying, though, would go against tradition, because normally the president in his first term, and this is the second term for the president, but it's kind of a midterm election, although a second term, the party in office in the White House generally does not fare well, Democrat or Republican. This is not an assault or an insult at President Trump in any way whatsoever. So when you see a president do something like this, urging Texas to do this, this is not, in my estimation, a position of strength or confidence being exerted by or imparted by President Trump, who really, in my mind, I've said before, is the greatest political athlete I've seen in politics in my lifetime. And maybe this is a great athletic move to urge, knowing that he's not in a great position come next year, that his party's not in a great position, to try to not pick the legislators, but pick the voters who will then pick the legislators. And if you do that, Mr. President, you're going to hear Democrats like me who are really I'm not a partisan. I'm a Democrat, but I'm not a partisan. I'm going to encourage Democrats in these other states to look at ways to counter what you guys are going to do in Texas, because it's not right. And anyone who's calling balls and strikes knows this is not the right way to do what you're trying to get accomplished.
So, Emily, the president just took a question after his announcement about the Olympics, and he was asked about the FBI going to get these guys. And he said if they have to do it, they have to do it. Do you think it's justified for the FBI to join the Texas posse and apprehend the flea baggers?
Well, I think it plays into the fact that this has been, the drama has been maximized by these Texas Democrats, but on the national scale. But when you look inside the borders of Texas, they are the voters whose opinion matters more than the rest of the country in this particular fight. I think they see this with disgust. To your point, they don't have the luxury of deciding not to go to work tomorrow, of going to hide out at their buddy's restaurant, at their buddy's hotel, and not actually go out and earn food for their families. Because this entire thing is exactly what, I mean, it's staged drama, right? It's optics rich and enforcement thin. And so at the end of the day, these guys are going to come back and they have nationalized what is a Texas policy fight. The Supreme Court has held that the courts that oversee gerrymandering are the state court levels. And what matters, yes, we're talking about national Congress, but it's a Texas policy argument. So here what we're seeing is these state partisans that have now fled to this national level, right? And they're getting applause on cable television, but where it matters, which is within the Texas borders, they're looking at this with a disgust. And I think at the end of the day, too, that the GOP has on their side a very disciplined surgical approach. And when you have that rhetoric, we're going to bring a knife to a knife fight, and this is war, and this is this extraordinary tactic. Well, everyone has seen, A, you're engaging in the theater, and B, what's actually working, which will be upheld in the courts, is a very non-race-based, but a partisan-based gerrymandering that actually reflects accurately. So when Gavin Newsom threatens, I'm going to come back fire with fire and do it even worse, that won't be upheld. Race isn't upheld, but partisan gerrymandering is. So they're just shooting themselves in the foot with the gun that they're not bringing to the knife fight.
It's the movie The Untouchables. That's the Sean Connery line where he tells Kevin Costner.
Ironically, it's the Chicago way.
Exactly.
And they're in Chicago and they messed up the one line that they could get right.
I agree with you.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.